The most dramatic finish of the MLS Cup Playoffs so far saw Inter Miami on the wrong side against Atlanta. It sets up a dramatic Game 3. Break it all down here on the Inter Miami Weekly Show. Joe Malfa with you from Chase Stadium. No Kieran Gibbs this week, a well-earned trip to visit family. Hope he enjoys. So it leaves me to pick up the pieces after Inter Miami's defeat on the road against Atlanta United. It was probably the most thrilling game so far, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, whatever the case may be, in the MLS Cup Playoffs. Just on the wrong side of it for Inter Miami. Still plenty of things to be encouraged about, and I'll walk you through all those things ahead of this weekend's game, Saturday, 8 Eastern here at Chase Stadium. But first, look at the highlights from that defeat against Atlanta on the road. Crowd was crazy, over 70,000 in attendance. It is certainly one of the best environments in MLS when they have that place packed out. And again, Atlanta has been a thorn in the side for Inter Miami. Don't forget, before the win last week in Game 1, Tata Martino was talking about how this team has had our number and just been able to find results even earlier in the year. Before Gonzalo Pineda had just gotten fired by Atlanta, their last hurrah really with him at the helm was coming here to Chase Stadium and beating Inter Miami. And last year on the road in Atlanta, Inter Miami fell as well. But signs look good early here. A mistake from Brad Guzan. I don't know what he was trying to do here. If he was trying to draw contact from a player in the area. See goalkeepers do that all the time. They're looking for contact. They're looking for somebody to touch the ball. It gets the whistle and allows you to reset. That's what he's arguing here. But when you see the close-up, nobody touched him. He was anticipating the contact from Fede Redondo and just spiked the turf. So no harm, no foul. Goal for David Martinez. But then in the second half, Atlanta would answer. Didn't think they were going to go quietly. That in front of 70,000, not down a game and down a goal. Inter Miami from there, pushing the envelope, looking for that winner. Guzan makes a couple of big saves, had a ton of big saves in Game 1. We know what he can do when he is at his best. Then late in the game, it was starting to feel like Atlanta was knocking on the door for a winner. Just momentum was going their way. If you were Inter Miami, you were just hoping to get to penalties. This one comes off the crossbar here. Another great game for Lobjanice and Miranchuk, some of their bigger priced European acquisitions from the summer, played in Europe, and then the moment, Jande Silva, 90+5 in the end after the time was given. In extra time, finds the net, an absolute whistler. There was nothing that Drake Callender could really do about it, but not all bad for Inter Miami. You still have a Game 3 now at home. One fact still remains. In the history of this playoff format, so last year and so far this year, no team who has won Game 1 has ever lost the series. They were a perfect 8-0 last year. So far this year, we've seen 4 sweeps, 4 series go to Game 3. So we'll have to see, obviously, in those series that have gone to a Game 3, what may come to pass. But there's a lot to hang your hat on if you're Inter Miami. Aside from that history, Game 1, expected goals, looking at some of the advanced stats, chatted with it last week about Kieran, and it's a team that had 3.8 expected goals in that one. It was a dominant showing in Game 1. Brad Guzan stood on his head. Kieran shared his thoughts last week on that one, that it probably was a lot better than the 2-1 final score would have indicated. This week, same thing. Even though Atlanta was pushing late, it was Inter Miami who had the expected goals advantage, who had pretty much all the statistical advantages, shots on target, expected goals. Brad Guzan made a bunch of big saves again. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, Atlanta's probably given us our 2 best shots so far. We withstood one of them for a win. The other one wasn't meant to be late. Now it all comes down to a Game 3 at home. Inter Miami this year tied for second in MLS in home wins at 11. They've been dominant in this building. And above all else, one thing that we know is Lionel Messi, when it's the lights shining the brightest, and the same goes for Luis Suarez and down the list, when the lights are shining the brightest, that's when they have their best games. Think Copa America, think the World Cup, think in their time at Inter Miami early in the year. Everybody was hyping up that rivalry game against Orlando, smacked them by 5 goals. Later in the year, had Columbus on the road when we could have won Supporters' Shield. Would Columbus do it? Would Columbus do it? Would they make that comeback and steal the Supporters' Shield from Inter Miami? What do? We go on the road. We get a big performance from Messi, Suarez, all factoring in. We win the game. Whenever it's been the biggest game, the light shining the brightest, and the pressure mounting, that's when those guys have really stood up. And those guys also haven't taken kindly to excessive celebration, shall we say. You think back to some of the losses last year and earlier this year against the Red Bulls when they sort of ran up the score when Messi and friends were missing. What the score was the next time. we played them. And not to say that Atlanta really got out of hand in most of the game, but when they won, rightfully so. It was a 90+4 banger in front of 70,000. You bask in it. You enjoy the moment. But Xande Silva took off the shirt, was standing there like the Statue of Liberty for about 5 minutes, it felt like. So, again, things that are in the back of the mind for Inter Miami, things you think of when you're looking at a decisive game. And make sure you are here this Saturday night, 8 Eastern, when Inter Miami takes on Atlanta United in Game 3. Decisive Game 3, a true knockout game now, if you will. I know the format is maybe new to some people, the 3-game setup. 2 games are gone, 1 game left. Win, advance, lose, road ends here for Inter Miami. We hope it doesn't end here. We've had so much fun this year on the Inter Miami Weekly Show. Glad to have had you with us here on YouTube. Make sure you're liking and subscribing so you can be with us every step of the way, hopefully culminating in a win on December 7th in MLS Cup. Have to get through Atlanta first this weekend, though. Again, 8 Eastern here at Chase Stadium. Make sure you represent.